Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo. And the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5. We off the record.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We off the record. We off the record.
What's up, man? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I see this nice chain you got.
It is off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Nice shirt you got.
I said this is off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Of course, Scotty B. Everybody know who I am. Everybody know who you are. How you doing, man?
I'm awesome.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
Any other small talk you want to have?
No. I was just asking about you. I know a couple people were concerned why we didn't start recording at 7. We're here. Anthony, he appeared, and he's good, man. He's alive and well.
Wow. I talked to this man all week.
Yeah. He's not in hiding.
No, I don't hide. I don't hide from nothing. I don't hide from nothing.
Yeah, you're not hard to find.
I'm definitely not hard to find. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram. I'm very easy to find. So crazy day, a crazy weekend of football in the NFL and in college, but mainly in the NFL. I know where this is gonna go, but all I'm gonna say is tread lightly. You tread lightly. Your boy Kevin tread lightly. And anybody else that wants smoke. Because listen, I got guns, I'm clipped up too. All right. I'm prepared. I'm prepared to go to war if I need to go to war. That's all I got to say. I'm throwing the warnings out now because I'm prepared to go to war if I gotta go to war.
You should be prepared. So question. What hat is that?
This is Miami.
Okay, I didn't know if it was an Eagles hat or it was.
Now, here's one thing. I may be petty. You will never see me. You may see me with the Seahawks. I see me with the Lions. You would never see me wear the Eagles, Commanders, or Giants hat ever. I don't give a damn if it matched my clothes to the T. Never. I can find another team to hat to put on.
It's tough to put on a different football hat. Basketball, baseball, I don't know. I can see. So you've got some like the Seahawks. That's a very unique color scheme, and then the Lions. That's a very unique color scheme to where like you've got the right outfit. I can see like putting that on. But anyway, I digress. So how's your week been, man? I know Sunday.
I was in Philly.
You was in Philly. You were at the game.
I was.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? So
from the game?
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
So I think that I thought that it was a good game. All jokes aside, before I even get to the fun part of the conversation, I thought that was a well played game by both teams. Right. And now I know some people are going to say the Eagles didn't play that well and the Cowboys made some mistakes, but it's because those are two good defenses from a macro standpoint. Those are two good teams. Yeah, everybody's not going to play whatever. Right. And me personally, from what I saw all year, the Eagles played how they played all year. It ain't like they've been playing at a high level and then they just dropped. They found a way to win. Now, with that being said, they gave us every opportunity to win the game, but I will say this. The best group on that team is their D-line, right?
Okay.
Their secondary, as we know, like I've stated all year, stinks, right? And you can tell the pieces that they lost. They didn't lose anything from the D-line. They lost Hargrave, right? But Okay, you lost Hargrave. They had 7 other guys and drafted 2. So it is what it is. I think they stepped up at the most opportune time to step up. So I'll give them that, right?
So that's why I have to give the Eagles, right? And that's why I keep saying that I think that they're the best team in the NFL.
Oh, they're not the best team in the NFL.
They're the best team in the NFL. I'll tell you why. Because they find ways to win. I mean, every team, and we highlight it each week, right? Every team has weaknesses, right?
Absolutely.
And there's good teams out there. And to your point, yeah, is the talent that far above like the Cowboys or the rest of the league? No, because every team out there has some sort of deficiency. But what separates the really good teams is, are you going to close out games that you should be able to close out? And that game was a slugfest. Like, I went into the game thinking the Eagles was going to win, right? I thought they were going to win because they, in my opinion, are considered the best team, in my opinion, in the NFL. So I didn't really expect the Cowboys to win, but it was a slugfest, right? It went back and forth, and anybody that watched the game, you didn't know who was going to win because it really kind of came down ultimately to the end.
Yep.
But somehow, some way, they found a way to win, and that's been their identity. Like, people that play them, they say, like, well, you know what? There's a lot of weaknesses, but somehow they figure out how to win. And
that's fine. And I've said this last week. I said it on Sunday. I told a bunch of Eagles fans the same thing. I said the way that they're playing is not sustainable. We've seen it from a number of teams that, yes, you're finding a way to win, but this looks a lot like the Vikings, because the Vikings, nobody found a way to win more than the Vikings last year. Am I right? They won 11 one possession games last year. Nobody found a way to win more than the Vikings last year in close games, right? They haven't had a game. They haven't had a game where you was like, damn, they was dominant. Now, this time last year, 75% of their games was like, damn, they dominant. You see what I'm saying? Had the same exact record, but even when they had that one loss, you look at when they lost to Washington on that Monday night last year, and you look at how they lost to the Jets, and you're like, they made it. The reason why they lost to Washington because their receivers fumbled the ball and yada yada yada. When they played the Jets, it was like, who is this team? They don't. I feel like it's just something about them, and it's not. And again, this has nothing to do with me liking the Cowboys. I don't believe in the Eagles as far as going far in the playoffs this year. And I'm telling you, and if I was a Titans fan, I would say the same thing because what my eyes are telling me, and seeing it in person, I'm like.
But let's be fair, right? So I want to circle back to a couple things that you said. I feel like you could say that about any team in the NFL. It's the same argument you could say with the 49ers, right? There are weaknesses in that team. The same argument that you can say about the Cowboys. When you watch all those teams play, if they're not your favorite team and you root against them or you are just watching objectively, there's chinks in everybody's armor. I mean, from the Chiefs, from the Ravens to every team.
The Ravens have the least amount of chinks in their armor.
So they put, and we'll get to that, right? Because I don't want to discredit them. I do think that something that you said last week, you said that they're the best team in the NFL. I think based off of their performance Sunday, I still am not quite there, but you have to acknowledge that if they're not the best team, they're in the top 3.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, they pummeled the Seahawks. I mean, and the Lions. I mean, and those are 2 teams that most people would say are going to the playoffs.
See, but I would compare those teams more to the Vikings of last
year. The Lions and the Seahawks?
I want to tell you why, right? So the Vikings of last year, they had a lot of good luck go their way. And I mean, people will say there's no such thing as luck. But to me, it's a difference from taking a victory or just plays just happen and kind of go your way. And I think football in its entirety, there's a lot of luck in it, right? You know, sometimes it just an opportunity has to go your way.
Right.
The Lions and the Seahawks, I think most people recognize that they're really good, but they haven't really done a lot. All right. So with those teams, it's like, okay, they've got good records. You know, the Seahawks, they're tied for the division lead. You know, you look at it, yeah, is this the best team in the NFC? Probably not. The Lions, they've got all the characteristics. They're the most complete team, but over their history, we haven't seen consistency. And you said keep the same energy, right? So a lot of stuff with the Cowboys is how consistent have they been down the stretch. With the Lions, it's the same argument to where it's like, yeah, they're having a good season now. We're a little bit past the midpoint. Right. Are they going to keep it up? Are they going to be consistent? With the Eagles, I feel like that they are playing bad, and they haven't played a complete game, but somehow that team, they win.
Now, here, all right, so because I think more people want to hear us talk about the Eagles and the Cowboys than the Lions and the Seahawks, right? Well, this is what I'll say. I would say this about the Eagles, and y'all better record this because you ain't gonna get a lot of positivity from me with the Eagles. Now, what I will say with the Eagles is that one, their O-line is legit. Now, they hold a lot, but forget that. Every O-line holds.
Would you say the best O-line in football right now in the NFL?
Yes. I would give them number one, and I would give Detroit around. I think the best three O-lines is Philly, Detroit, Dallas. Those are the three O-lines I say are the best.
I feel like it's one that I'm missing.
I mean, well, you got the Ravens O-line, but
and there it is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So with the Eagles, it feels like what they don't do a lot is make mistakes. Or let me rephrase that. They don't make that crucial mistake, right? So when you're playing them, you got to be on your game at all times. Like from the when the time the clock goes off in the first quarter till the end in the fourth, because they may make a mistake in the middle, and if you don't capitalize, that's on you. Right.
And a fan looking at that team,
right,
they make adjustments. Like you said, you have to play. They can be beat, but you have to play your game too. Like they're not just going to give you the game.
You want me to tell you what the downfall of the Eagles are?
What?
You ready?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Their offensive coordinator is one of the worst offensive coordinators in the league. I'm not saying he's the worst. Their offensive coordinator is terrible, right? Because all he does, he doesn't set anything up. All he's doing out there is calling plays. And that is part of the difference between the Eagles last year and this year. He's just calling plays, and he's just like, and he's just like Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore never set anything up.
Okay, so hold on. Let's go back to this, right? Because you've been an offensive coordinator, you've been a head coach, and you've called plays. What do you mean when you say setting things up?
All right, so teams have their identity, right? It's either you're a passing team. I mean, you're a running team, and you run to set up the pass, or some teams even pass to set up the run. Some teams like the Chiefs used to be, they run when they want to. And what he does, for instance, you have the lead in the fourth quarter, and for instance, the Eagles' last possession, I want to say it was like 2 minutes left in the game or something, and it was a 3rd and 3, right? It was 3rd and 3 in the fourth quarter, and the Cowboys have one timeout. So you know what he does? He throws a deep pass. For what? Even if you don't get the 3 yards, right? Because at that time, the Cowboys D-line, just like the Eagles, they were turning it up. So it doesn't matter. Either you force them to use their timeout, but if you get the first down, the game's over, right? Even if they use their timeout, if you get the first down, the game is over. What he does is he throws a pass, stops the clock. Now the Eagles don't go for it. Normally but at that time you couldn't, and they have to punt. Now the Cowboys drive down the field, and almost win the game. Now, those are some of the things where you just don't do, you know, and it's like they're getting bailed out because of their D line, and you got AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts has been making some plays, but their offense was terrible in the fourth quarter. Like, listen, you know how hard it is not to get to only have 14 yards in the quarter, like to only have in the fourth quarter, to only have 14 yards is terrible.
So I give you that, right? But after watching the Monday Night Football game, I don't know.
First of all, we don't got to talk about that terrible.
I don't know if I could say that somebody is the worst coordinator after watching Monday Night Football. That was like one of the worst games.
I stopped watching again, and I rarely ever start watching. And I had fantasy implications, and I was like, I can't do this.
That's the only reason I was watching.
It was a terrible football game. It was a terrible football game. And that's why sometimes I wish they could flex like on Monday night games, which they don't. But that was a terrible. I mean, of course, I know when they made the schedule, it was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Herbert, but he was terrible. I mean, the Jets have a good defense, but the Jets first of all, the Chargers didn't do anything special to win that game. The Jets just kept on turning the ball over, whether they fumbled, intercepted, whatever. They just kept on turning the ball over. So, yeah, that might have been the worst game of the season.
Absolutely. But let me ask this, right? Is it time for the Jets to finally move on from Zach Wilson? Have we seen enough with the sample size? And I get it, right? So they're what, 4-4 now?
Yeah. So and they're coming off of a 3-game winning streak. I don't think so. I think you still leave him in there. Because a lot of the things that so he did hold the ball too long last week, right? But Garrett Wilson fumbled, he fumbled, somebody else fumbled, and they couldn't run the ball. I mean, they couldn't run the ball. And maybe the Chargers defense is starting to get it together.
So they look good. The Chargers defense did look good, but so the glaring question that I have is why not give Trevor Siemian an opportunity to get out there?
Because we've seen Trevor Siemian and it ain't no better, man.
Yeah, but we've seen Zach Wilson. And it's not getting better. And I want to believe that maybe he could be that guy, or maybe he could be. I don't think
you need to not for Trevor. If it was somebody else, I'd be like, okay. But Trevor Siemian ain't gonna do no better. He's not gonna add value to the team. I mean, he's a veteran, but he ain't never been nobody you'd be like, oh, he's that guy, or he didn't even have flashes. He may have had like a good quarter, maybe two, but no. And at the end of the day, I think, and I could be in the minority, but I think how many games they played? 8. He's played better, and he's played a lot better this season than he did last year. And I honestly think he gives them the best opportunity to win right now. I don't think that Trevor Siemian is going to do. All he's going to do is lose the game.
So did they miss out on a major opportunity, right? So we look at what the Vikings did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Kyler Murray, he's going to come back this week.
Yep.
Joshua Dobbs got traded earlier this year from the Browns to the Cardinals.
Right before the season.
Yeah, right before the season. I'm not going to say he did a phenomenal job, but I think most people are.
He did a good job.
Yeah,
he did a good job.
Most people are convinced that he deserves a spot in the NFL. Whether it's a starting quarterback or a backup quarterback, that's debatable. But
right.
he obviously could play. I personally would have liked to have seen the Jets go out there and get like a Joshua Dobbs, to where somebody that kind of understands, like, okay, I'm holding the spot for Aaron Rodgers. It's not a permanent spot, but gives you at least an opportunity to win. You got Jacoby Brissett out there. Like, it's guys that...
Jacoby Brissett's not on the roster?
Jacoby Brissett is with the Commanders, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to trade him.
But why not kick the wheels on somebody like that? And I think me and you had talked about it, like when Aaron Rodgers' injury first happened. There are suitable backups elsewhere that they could have kicked the tires on. to give that team a better opportunity. Because if you really look at the team, outside of their offensive line, they're in a win now type mode. And they're geared to win now. So why not try to win as many games as you
They
want?
beat the Eagles.
Huh?
They beat the team you said was the number one team in the league.
Well, I mean,
and he was the starting quarterback.
Yeah, but that defense, right? And you said it too. If that defense is playing like they're capable of playing, and all he has to do is go in there and really manage the game,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can pull out victories. But I would have liked to have seen them bring in another quarterback to help offset that.
I think that and I could be wrong, but I think it's easy to just blame Zach Wilson. I don't know if I was about to say Peyton Manning, but Aaron Rodgers would have done well the other night with that line. I mean, well, he probably wouldn't have fumbled as much, but man, they look bad. I mean, and I blame the O-line more than anything because they, and again, they can't run the ball. So you're not even giving the young kid a healthy dose of like to balance it out, So it was like then they got behind because of all the turnovers that they couldn't do the thing that you would think that they would be able to do. Could they have brought in somebody else, other than Trevor Siemian? Yes. But they didn't. And I think that Zach Wilson is better than Trevor Siemian. And he just won 3 games in a row. And one of those games was against the Eagles. So now the Giants game was probably the worst. That might have been the worst football game.
So that's where I was going next, right? So last week we talked about best teams in the NFL.
Right.
So right now we're at the midway mark.
Mm-hmm.
Teams are starting to like form their identity, right? We know who a lot of these teams are. Who are your top 3 worst teams? Oh. We're not going to go top 5 because I think that's a bit brutal, but your 3 worst, they're out of it. They need to just pack it in and try to get draft picks.
Okay. That's not that difficult, as difficult as initially it sounded. So the 3 worst that I have, the Cardinals have to be there because they're just I don't know what they do. Now they play hard, but they don't have enough, right? Okay. And so I have the Cardinals. I have the Panthers. I have the Panthers at the second. They're interchangeable. It doesn't matter who you put over there. And then the third is the Giants. I think the Giants are one of the worst teams in the league, and I don't think it's going to get any better. Now, I say that, and the Cowboys play the Giants this weekend, but I don't have a fan in the world about that. I think that I honestly feel like I don't want to say they're tanking. I just think they're a bad team, and they're going to get a high draft pick. They should have traded Saquon at the trade deadline.
So somebody brought something up, and I don't know who it was, so I can't really give them their credit. But they talked about Houston, right? And they talked about possibly if Saquon would have been like traded to like Houston, what that team would have looked like with a Saquon Barkley. And when you look at it, Houston's rushing attack has been abysmal this year. It is just Dameon Pierce. I understand he's not healthy. That's been my guy, and I want to always root for him. Devin Singletary, he had the backfield to himself this weekend. I mean, he just crapped the bed. But C.J. Stroud,
rookie of the year.
Mm-hmm. He's figuring out how to get it done. And that game was, I'm not going to say it was the best game of the season, but it really wasn't good.
That was a good game. And they played the Falcons, and they didn't have a kicker, so they had a backup running back as a kicker who is Nigerian. And I'm not saying that he plays soccer, but he did play soccer before. And they won the game by 2. That was a good game. It was a shootout. He broke. I want to say he broke the record, right?
Right.
The passing record for rookies. So I think that it's almost like he's doing everything by himself. Now, I won't say he's doing it, but them receivers are coming to play for him.
He's got some really good receivers
Right.
that they've drafted really well. If you couple that with the right run game, and you couple that with where he's at now, because and this might be a little far-fetched, but you kind of see it with like Jalen Hurts. You kind of see it with Justin Herbert. That team, if they get enough pieces, the fact that they've got him on a rookie deal, it's time to really load that team up. Now, will they be able to make the playoffs? Not this year. Will they be able to make the playoffs?
Why can't they make the playoffs this year?
I mean, they're in a good position. I mean, what I'm seeing out of CJ Stroud, and I've always said that I felt like he was the best quarterback coming out. He's playing phenomenal, and I thought early on in the season when he was having success, maybe teams were going to start to figure him out, and he was going to hit like a little rookie slump. But he's done nothing but rise to the occasion.
I just want to say this: if the playoffs started, and I know it don't start today, they wouldn't be in the playoffs, but the whole AFC North would be in the playoffs.
The Colts are playing good. I mean, that Panthers and Colts game. I mean, yeah, the Panthers do look bad. So the problem with the Panthers, I believe they have their franchise quarterback of the future, but right now they're struggling with identity. Right? You don't know if they're a running team. You don't know if they're.
Well, they're definitely not a running team because they can't run the ball.
They can't run the ball. They can't pass the ball. So you really don't know like what they're trying to accomplish. Like at least Houston, you see that they're putting him around receivers. They're passing the ball. You see what they're trying to do.
Well, they traded the one asset that they would have had as far as in DJ Moore.
Okay.
But so what you just stated with Houston is what's going to happen with Carolina. They're going to have a ton of money. They're going to, I want to say they're going to have some picks. So they'll be able to build the team, build around, they have to draft a lineman. They have to draft probably a receiver, draft a running back. There's going to be a ton of receivers in this draft this year. They got to draft a running back. And and probably get some other free agents. But I think that they'll be a lot better than Chicago. Chicago is a weird situation. That's a whole different story. But I think that the Bears are better than those three teams that I named.
Okay, so what's weird about the Bears situation?
So I know we had this whole discussion about the trade that they made with the Commanders, and then they just re-signed what's his name? Sweat. So I feel like that's a decent trade, right? And like I was explaining when our boys Marcus, I was saying, well, Sweat is going to be better than pretty much anybody that's going to come out in the first or second round at the DN spot. And so they used that money, which wasn't that much money. They gave him an extension. I think it was like 98. So it comes out to like 24, 25 million a year. And so they got a rush in. Now they have some other. They better get some other pieces on defense. But I feel like they don't have the right coach. They need to somehow. I don't know if they move on from him this year, but they need to just let Justin Fields play. And they have the most cap. They have the most cap room. Now, will they be smart? Because I want to say they have $110 million in cap space for next year. They should be able to get any and everyone that they need for this team to be successful.
So that's where I disagree, right? So everything I agree with everything you said up to that last point. If I'm a free agent, and I get it, right? Money talks, right? So people are going to go where the money is. I think and I don't want to call it a failure, but it's no direction. Like it seems like they're all like over the place.
Right. You don't know if you don't know if they're trying to be offensively or defensively. No, I agree.
Yeah, and I think everybody kind of agrees that they really haven't set Justin Fields up for success. So it almost looks like at the beginning of the season, okay, this is our guy.
Mm-hmm.
Season starts and it's like, this might not be our guy. And I don't think the guy that they're starting tomorrow was named
Oh, Justin Fields not starting?
Nah, he's out. So Bajan is starting tomorrow.
Oh,
He still hasn't been medically cleared, so that's another reason why he's not starting. But it's one of those things where you kind of see it is, are they like thinking that they should move in this direction? Do they feel like the team is better with the second rounder? Is this weird movement?
So here's the thing. What I think they probably should do, they're gonna have 2 first-round picks. They're probably gonna be high picks, right? Whatever let's just say they have the 1st and the 6th, or the 1st and the 5th, or whatever.
Right.
I would draft whoever I got to draft to start that, whatever. And I would trade that. I would ultimately, it would be a pick swap, right? For that second first-round pick. Move back in the first round and get a bunch of other picks. Get your lineman in the first round. So now you have, because if they have the first pick, you damn near have to get Caleb Williams, right? I don't think that you can get anybody else first. So you got to get Caleb Williams. And if you get Caleb Williams, you're not putting Justin Fields on the bench. You can get a lot for Justin Fields, whether it's a 3rd, whether it's a 2nd, whether it's
I don't think you necessarily have to get rid of Fields.
if you draft a quarterback, number 1, number 2, whoever in early in the first round, you're getting rid of Justin Fields. There's no way possible that you're going to keep Justin Fields. If you draft Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, Drake May, or any of those others early in the first round, there's no way. He would raise a fit, as he should.
All right, I mean,
but that just leads to no direction. Here's the thing: if you draft you got a first round quarterback who is gonna be up for a new contract next year, and you're gonna draft another quarterback and you're gonna keep them both on a roster, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and I see what you're saying. I agree with it. I don't know if he's the guy. And I think what needs to happen, and they'll figure it out this year, is when he gets back healthy, they've got to put him back out there and see what he is, right? And then they got to make a decision. Are we keeping this guy or are we moving on from this guy?
They should trade Justin Fields if that's the case. If they have a high pick, well, they're gonna have a high pick. But if they have 2 high picks, yeah, I would trade Justin Fields and get as many picks for him as possible, because there's going to be teams that he could go to. You may say Denver. You could say the Raiders. Pick another team, the Commanders, the Giants, the Jets. I mean, there's plenty of teams that he can go to that just say, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and get more picks for him. That's just a smart thing to do.
So the thing too is he can go to multiple teams,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean that he needs to start at multiple teams. So just depending on the situation, I think a lot of teams would get him just to kind of see what's going on. So the Raiders, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Antonio Pierce, he makes his coaching debut against his former team. Is it me, or did the Raiders just seem super inspired under Antonio Pierce?
When they were playing the Giants, that was the first thing. They did. You know who they look like? They look like the Colts last year when Jeff Saturday first got there. They won that first game.
A little bit different.
What?
I think they look like the 49ers when we hired Mike Singletary. No, I mean, like before, like everything kind of like hit the fan with that. You know, you had a coach that was really passionate, and when I heard, and I think we talked about it a little bit last week, Antonio Pierce's opening press conference. I mean, when I heard it, it made me want to suit up and play for him.
I didn't hear it.
I mean, if you couldn't just hear the excitement in his voice, it almost reminded me of Dan Campbell, right? So you know, like when you
bite kneecaps,
huh?
You biting kneecaps?
I don't know what he's doing, but it just gave you that confidence that, like, hey, this guy is the energy that this team needs, and it also, in my opinion, for the first time, it might have been one of the best decisions. And we're one game in, but I saw what Mark Davis saw, right? And being a football coach, it's a lot more than X and O's, right? I know I'm preaching to you, but it's about being a leader of leaders, right? A leader of men. And I think in certain locker rooms, that becomes a lost art. I think what's been the hot topic is like, okay, this guy is an offensive guru, or this guy knows X's and O's, or this guy has a good system that we could implement, or this guy, he's a stat guy, he's an analytic guy.
Right.
But at the core of it, it's about the coach and can he get the team to buy into whatever he's selling? Is he invested in his players on an individual level? And will people be motivated to really do better and do more and take the extra step? And yeah, because you said it last week, right? Teams, sometimes you can know the play. You can know what's going on. But if you're firing all cylinders, you're motivated and you're inspired, none of that stuff really matters. And when I listen to him speak, and like I said, it's a whole bunch of stuff that has to occur. I can see why that team would be excited, that team would want to play, and that team would be like, you know what, finally, we got somebody in here that we can relate to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were smoking after the game. I don't know if it was cigars or weed is legal in Vegas, but that joint didn't look like a bunch of cigars they were smoking. But that's neither here nor there. It's none of my business. It just seemed like they had a breath of fresh air in that locker room, and mainly for him. Now the problem is that I have with the Raiders is I don't know if that's their guy, right? They had somebody there, Biadish or Bashada, whatever his name was, that was there just a couple years ago when with the whole thing with Gruden, when Gruden got fired. This guy was a candidate for Coach of the Year as an interim coach. He was a finalist for Coach of the Year, and they didn't keep him. You know, they wanted to make it Patriots South or Patriots West, and they hired the guy they just fired. Now, had they kept that guy, they probably would have made the playoffs. Or they might not have. They might have stunk. Who knows? But what I do know is they seem to be gelling. They seem to like him. They seem he seemed to be the perfect fit. They wanted him there, and the ownership said no. Now, will they do this with Antonio Pierce if that's not their guy, or will it just set him up just to go be a position coach on another team next year?
So that's one of the things that he mentioned in his press conference, and I would have to agree with him, is he's playing with house money. So the way that he kind of looks at it is like, you know what, maybe I'm not the guy. I'm just grateful for the experience. I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to invest everything in it. I'm going to do my best. And I think sometimes when you take that approach and you can hear that passion in his voice, it's like, you know what? I don't care if I don't win any games. I'm going to give it. I'm going to take my shot. Right. I have a shot.
He definitely cares if he wins games, but
well, he cares if he wins games. But I think his ultimate goal is like, you know what? The odds are against me for it to be my shot, but I'm still going to take it.
Yeah. So I wish him the best. Even though he was a Giant and he played for Washington, that's fine. Another black man as a coach, that's cool with me. I do hope that he does well. I would stay with Aiden O'Connell for the rest of the year and just let him play. See what you got in the rookie, because Garoppolo stinks. So
I do got one thing to talk about before we switch to basketball, because we got a lot to cover there. Big game for us this weekend. We're playing the Jacks.
Hey, Scott, don't lose 4 in a row, man.
It is what it is, right? The Jags are a good team.
They are.
They are a really good team that I feels that they don't get the respect that they deserve.
That's true.
And they're going to come out and play. I still believe that we should win that game, but it's not going to be an easy game. It's going to
that's a tough game to call. I mean, so you guys are getting Trent Williams back, right? And I think Debo comes back this week.
We should have everybody back. We should be fresh off of a bye, but you've got a Jacksonville Jags team that's 6-2. Believes they should be 6-2, and they're drinking their Kool-Aid. I mean, they're not backing down. So it is going to be a game that I feel like we have to win.
Okay.
Because the magnitude of what it is. Is it a must-win game for the season? No. But is it a game that we need to get back on track? And will it do wonders for our team? I mean, because if you go in there, you beat Jacksonville. Yeah, they're not the best team in the NFL, but
they're one of the best teams.
Yeah, I think most people could agree that they are one of the best teams.
So I'm gonna ask you this, and it's no joking. If you guys lose to Jacksonville, is it time to look at Sam Darnold? Now, well, you said that they damn near the same player.
No. So here's where I'm at, right? And I'm not trying to be funny or I'm not trying to say anything. The 49ers, the first half of the season, past couple years, we go through these ups and downs. Maybe not as bad as 3 losses or 4 losses, but we lose in the first half of the season, games that we shouldn't. You know, like we might be 3-5, or we might be 4-4, and we kind of fly under the radar. This year was a little bit different, right? It was one of the rare years that we came out swinging, and we put a target on our back. Typically, we're one of those teams that we kind of fly under the radar, and nobody is really talking about it.
Yeah, don't fly under the. I don't know why you believe this. Yeah, you guys are.
No, hold on. Go back and look at our records the last couple of years at the beginning of the year. We're never the team that we're not flying under the radar. Maybe that's the wrong word, but we're not in the first couple of weeks or the first half of the season. Teams aren't looking at us like, "Hey, this is the best team in the NFL. This is the team to beat."
That's fair.
They may say like, "Oh yeah, they got a little bit of talent, and hey, we don't want to play them." And then toward the end, we start to make the adjustments. We'll go on a run, and then that's typically how it goes. This game is an important game.
Very important.
It's an important game. It's not very important because we still got the Seahawks twice, and we still have the capability of winning the division. I think the Bengals and the 49ers, because the Bengals are another team too, to where they go through their ups and downs, but somehow they figure it out at the right time.
Right.
So I'm going to see. I want us to win, but it'll be more concerning if we start to lose to Seattle and we lose the division. Because if we lose the division, then it starts getting tricky with the math, right? So then it starts to get to, okay, the loss is piling up and you lost the division. Now your chances of winning and making the playoffs are in
That's.
jeopardy.
I mean, I think that's a few weeks down the road. I don't think it's that dire yet. We do somebody said, what is my predict? Charles said, what's my prediction for the 49ers Jacksonville game? I honestly think that the 49ers are going. I find it hard. I mean, and I know anybody can win, and they are a good team. I just find it hard to believe that this team can lose 4 games in a row. Now, if that happens, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the 49ers win that game. I think it's a good game.
But it could happen.
But it could happen.
It
And
could happen.
if it does happen, I feel like then you may not be ringing the alarm, but I think that there's going to be some sirens sounding, because especially if Brock Purdy throws a couple interceptions, 1 or 2 interceptions, and it ends up costing them the game, is going to say, well, we do have Sam Darnold. Do we start that? I don't know if that happens.
So let me backtrack, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where it would sound off alarms to me, because nobody wants to lose 4 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be the loss; it would be the manner, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if Trevor Lawrence comes out and shreds our defense, like Burrow, like some of the other quarter, like Kirk Cousins,
right?
And off the bye week,
they coming off a bye too,
right? But off our bye week,
mm-hmm.
the coordinators, the players, and the trade didn't appear to work, and the adjustments were not made. That's an alarm for Pauls, right?
I don't think me personally, I don't think that trade moved the needle at all.
I think that trade helped us a lot, but
a lot.
Yeah.
Explain. A lot? You think getting a lot?
I think if he stays healthy,
God,
it allows us to get back to what we used to do and what we've been successful doing. So if he can create just a simple pass rush that he's been doing for the Commanders,
mm-hmm.
and he can generate that pass rush, and we can get out of sending players for the blitz,
mm-hmm.
we can get back to the defensive schemes that we run. Now, with that being said, it's all got to play out on football, right? On
mm-hmm.
the football field.
Yeah.
So it all looks nice on paper. It all looks nice coming out of my mouth. Sounds good, right?
Hey, yo. Whoa. It sounds nice. What? Hey. I go. God, dog. Yo. It sounds nice. What?
But so I digress. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it all sounds good. If our defense does not,
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
If our defense does not improve,
mm-hmm.
that's when I will start getting scared.
Okay.
The offense, I don't believe is Brock Purdy, because everything is predicated off the defense. If the defense is able to control the game,
mm-hmm.
control the field position, and really protect leads,
mm-hmm.
then the offense opens up, because that's typically how we're used to calling the game. Now, if the defense is giving up a lot of points, and now we're putting Brock Purdy in positions to where he's got to go out there and win a game, we're not
mm-hmm.
built like that. So it's going to start with the defense.
I mean, all right. I'll take your word for it, because I promise you this. I ain't going to come in here with a Jags hat next week.
I already know that you King of Petty, so I would be expecting you to do that. I know a lot of people are disappointed that I let you off the hook.
Yeah, I mean,
with the Cowboys losing, but you know what? I say it like this, right? I didn't really want to put too much emphasis on it. I kind of figured that they were going to lose. They played a good game, and it just was what it was, man. I didn't really want to.
Can we get to the winner of the week, man?
I don't have a winner of the week, man. So
I do.
No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner.
All right, so my winner of the week this week, I I know I don't do the winner of the week. Right, this ain't my thing, but I'm giving it to this guy right here. Here's why. Because I was prepared. I'm telling y'all, I was prepared to combat any and everything he said in regards to the Cowboys. And I was disappointed. So I'm giving him winner of the week for disappointing me and you. Because, I thought he was gonna have a real live eagle in his house. I was prepared for anything. I said he might have like an Eagles blanket. He might come out here in full pads with Eagles gear just to whatever. So here's the thing though. I think part of it, listen to me, y'all. I think part of it is because the 49ers lost 3 in a row. And he don't have the oomph like he had like a month ago. Like a month ago, you would, man. But now it's like, I'm humble and I'm gonna do this. Yo, tighten up, man. I know y'all ain't won in a month. It's okay. It's okay. The last time I felt that way was in 2020, and Dak was hurt.
So here it is, right? You guys lost to the best football team.
They're not the best team in the league, man.
I know.
They're the best team in the NFC.
So look, it's opinion based, right? You guys lost a game that I knew you were going to lose. So it's really hard to really pay it that much attention.
You're so full of shit. You're so full of shit.
No, I'm serious.
No, you are.
It's very difficult to really. So look, right? They went there. They played a close game. A couple of things happened, didn't go their way. They had opportunities to win it. They didn't win it. It's the same story every time. It literally is the same story. So it's like, you know what?
Is it?
I could go out there and I could buy Eagle stuff that I'd never wear to troll you.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it the same story?
It's the same exact story.
Okay.
It is, right? So I didn't really want to pay it too much credence because nobody really expected you guys to win. Now, did you guys play good? Absolutely.
Well, that would be stupid if you don't like saying you picked the Eagles. All right, but to not expect the Cowboys to win sounds kind of crazy.
No,
it does. It does.
To you,
they were listen. You know how I know that's bull? Hear me out. Because you get 3 points just off of being a home team. They were a 3-point fit. It was an even game. So to say, no one expected the Cowboys to win doesn't even make any sense. It'd be different if there was a 7-point home favorite. They were a 3-point home favorite. You get 3 points just for being home. You get here's the thing. I'm gonna use your own words against you, right? People don't expect the Jaguars to win because they're the home team and they're a 3-point dog at home. So they expect y'all to win by 6.
Right, but listen to what I'm saying. And this is the God honest truth. People didn't think.
You didn't think. You didn't think. I saw a lot of people picking the Cowboys.
Yeah, because it was a good odds, right? And people do have questions with the Eagles, but I didn't expect them to pull out a victory. And I figured it would be a good game, which it was, because, I mean, you highlighted it, right? You match up well, you do all these things great. But at the end of it, it was the same outcome that it always is. And until they figure out how to close these games and figure out how to just win, just figure it out, it's going to be the same result. And, I mean, you were prepared for anything. When you played a clip of me saying that week after week after week is they got to figure it out, man. When the lights are on, when we need them to go out there and take a victory, and to say that doesn't happen is just dumb, though, because we just beat the Chargers in a close game. You can say what you want about the Chargers. A lot of people had the Chargers, however you want to say it. People are high on the Chargers for whatever reason. They just are. I'm not, but they are. We just beat the Eagles last year. We split with them, and
and both games are fairly close. And we won the game. So I mean,
but that's where it starts, right? And that's what we expect, and we've come to expect is it's a reason, it's an excuse. We just need them to win, like literally and legitimately. And I'm saying this, right? They're a very talented team. We get it, right? They should be in the hunt. They're right there. They're 5-3 or whatnot.
mm-hmm.
But just cash in and win. Just figure it out and win. So it's really not much. Like I can go stat for stat if you want it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe I'll be wrong, maybe you'll be wrong or whatnot, and it'll make for a good show.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's still the same result. And until they really put it together and figure out how to win, I'm not sold. And I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. And I really don't want to even give it that much more energy because it doesn't deserve that much energy.
Okay.
Until they figure out how to get it done
So
when it counts. That's
but y'all don't get it done when it counts. Neither do. Hold on, hear me out. Honestly,
I figured that was coming.
No. Neither. No, hear me out. Neither do the Eagles. Neither do the Bills. Neither do the Ravens. I mean, if you think about it, look at the last 5 Super Bowl champions. The last 5 Super Bowl champions, it's been pretty much the same people. You know, so I hear what you're saying, but you're saying that's where I talk about the bias and the goalpost moving, because the game that you're saying that we haven't won, we've won. Because we lost to the 49ers in the playoffs the last 2 years. Hold on.
No. I want to explain to you the difference, because it's a huge difference, right? So what you're saying is, and you're correct in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't win, all these teams didn't win the Super Bowl, right?
Correct.
What we're saying is the Eagles, the 49ers, the Ravens, and there's other teams out there are in the same conversation. The
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys want to be in that conversation, but they're not yet in that conversation because we see them during the regular season. They go on these magnificent runs. They appear. I mean, the last couple of years they've been 12-5, right?
That's true.
And when it comes down to it, are they going to figure out how to beat themselves? Because the talent is there, but for whatever reason, they're not taking that next step, right? And
well, who is?
Teams that get to the NFC Championship, teams that go to the Super Bowl, yeah, they lose in those games, but there's confidence that they're taking the next step. With the Cowboys, it's just kind of like, okay, we're going to see.
Y'all move the goalpost. Y'all move the goalpost. It is.
It's accepting reality that team is not there yet. Now they can get there. They always have the talent. And look,
so that's where we disagree, because I don't think we always have the talent.
The last couple of years, the last 3 years, you guys have had enough talent to get
the last
over.
3 years. No, maybe the last 2, not the last 3.
So okay, the last 2 years and this year, you have enough talent.
Well, we only had midpoint of the season.
So would you agree with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're being really fair.
Okay.
The Cowboys can beat any team in the NFL.
Absolutely.
I think they can too. It's just a matter of will they beat every team in the NFL? Okay. They have the talent to do it, but are they going to beat the team? And until they really do that, it's like a
so hear me out. So in order for the Cowboys to be wherever you're talking about, they got to get to the Super Bowl.
What?
For the Cowboys to be at whatever level that you're talking about, they got to get to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But it's not like that for the 49ers.
49ers just have been in the Super Bowl
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
But they've been.
No, they got to the Super. When did they get to the Super Bowl? In 2019?
They went in 2019.
No, 2018.
No,
it was 18 going to 19 season.
Actually 20. It was 19.
19 going into 20, yeah, because they played the Chiefs.
And we've been in the NFC Championship each year after that, right?
No. Y'all went last year.
Yeah, we went last year. The year before that, we had
the year before that, y'all went and lost again.
Yeah. So we've been there. So look, right? So and
Let's just say y'all can't get over the hump then. So
it's two different humps, right? It's the hump of going to the Super Bowl and being in the championship, and a lot.
So you're cool with that? Yeah. So because hold on, hear me out. Because just 2 weeks ago or three, however many weeks ago, you said there's no championship expectations for the 49ers, but yet you just told me that y'all been in the NFC. You want me to pull it out?
So listen, this is what I'm telling you, right? Nobody is cool with not winning the Super Bowl.
I get that.
But what I'm saying is it's two different conversations. We're in talks of when you're in the NFC Championship game, that means you're one game away from going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So our expectation is going to the Super Bowl. You're holding the Cowboys in the same conversation, and I'm just telling you, for me, they're not in the same conversation until they do something.
And that's fine, right?
But keep telling you.
Listen, no, it's no we. It's just you and I having this conversation. What I'm saying is, if that's the case, you should say that about the Ravens. They should say that about the Buffalo Bills. They should say that about any other team that's supposed to be a good team. You know, because the Ravens never been to haven't been to an AFC Championship since they won the Super Bowl 11 years ago. The Bills been to one AFC Championship and lost. Who else? It don't. So when again that comes to keep that same energy. So you're saying because it's two separate conversations we're having right now.
Okay.
Because you said that there's two separate levels or whatever. Me personally, I don't think it's either you're there or you're not. It's either you're there or you're not. We haven't been there in Lord knows whatever, right? And for whatever reason, whether it's Romo from that's a wild card game, but we lost in the division round last year, and we lost in the wild card the year before that. We lost in the division round a few years before that. It happens, right? It happens. The thing though is when we talking about the Cowboys, it changes.
But you know why, right? And I keep telling you the same thing. It's because the Cowboys, the fans, the owner.
Hey, I could care less about the fans. I'm talking.
Hold on. I'm talking about you too. Is the Ravens are not trying to sell us on that they're this team that is there. They prove it on the field, right? So they allow people to talk about it, and they allow people to say, hey, we're in that echelon. With the Cowboys, they lose, and they still try to convince you that they're in that echelon, and we keep telling them, like, look, do this, and you'll be there. And the only thing that we're saying is, like, look, we need to see more than the regular season. We need to see, like, look, you've got all the pieces. Everybody says you're a Super Bowl contender. You could beat any team in the NFL. We just want to see you get to the next level. Get to the next level, and then it's
I'm telling you now, the Cowboys will be in the Super Bowl this year playing the Ravens. You can say what you. I've seen enough. I'm talking about this year. I ain't talking about what happened last year. I ain't talking about what happened the year before that. I've seen enough. And let's be the 49ers beat us, they drug us, but at this point it looks like an anomaly. It looks like one of those games that everybody has every year.
But that's what everybody keeps saying, right? And that's again, it goes back to the same narrative. Is that's what Cowboys fans do. They'll go back to something and they'll say, well, you can't count this.
I didn't say don't count that. I said I don't care about last year or the year before that because that has nothing to do with 2023.
We're talking about this year, right?
Right.
So what the Cowboys do is they'll say, hey, did you look at this? Did you look at this? What I'm looking at
Did I say any of that?
You just said it.
What I said?
You just talked about the 49ers being an anomaly.
No, I said that loss, that game. Yes.
That appears right, but the fact is we can't take that game away.
I didn't take it away. I never said, yo, we're 5-2 if you take away that 49ers game. No, I didn't say that. That's part of the story. That's part of the journey.
So the story is They got beat by the 49ers.
Yep.
They got beat by the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And until they beat one of the big boys and they beat them. Hold on. And
I don't think that they're any different than the Cowboys.
So hold on. When they beat them
Mm-hmm.
in the playoffs, I will show the validity. I said the same thing about the Eagles. I said, look, if they beat what I consider the best team in the NFL, I'll give them their credit. They haven't done that yet. So
This season, we play them twice though.
And you know what? You can change the narrative. If we
No, it won't. It won't. It won't. We don't have to do that. If the Cowboys beat the Eagles on December 10th, it's not going to matter.
Look, if they go to the Super Bowl, it changes the narrative for me. Maybe it doesn't change the narrative for everybody else, but until I see that, it is what it is. And I'm sorry that you feel that way.
How? I mean, I don't feel anyway. I feel like first of all, I think the best teams in the NFC are the Eagles, Cowboys, and the 49ers. I think everybody else are just there. That's just my personal opinion. Now, we play the Eagles twice, so us beating, because they beat us last year. It doesn't matter, and we came back and beat them. So whatever. So that evens itself out. Because what'll happen is if we happen not to play the 49ers in advance, then I'm like, but they can't beat the 49ers. You know what I would say? Who gives a shit? We advanced. It doesn't matter. Like that stuff doesn't even matter. Like that. That's why I'm like, people still holding on to that 49ers game need to let it go, because it was a week 5 game in an 18-week season.
But you know how it goes away, right?
I don't care how it goes away. It doesn't matter. It's one game in the regular season. It doesn't matter.
It goes away when winning. Like when Dak Prescott. Okay, so let's get into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than the 2 big plays that we can highlight, and you can do that with any player, right? You can find plays.
What 2 big plays? Who made that? Who made
the stepping out of bounds for the 2-point conversion and not really getting it? Hold on, those are magical moments to where you change your narrative, right?
And you talking about the pass that he threw, right, where the guy was tackled before he even caught the ball. So what are we? It's a game of inches.
But reality of it
my God!
Great players get it done.
That is such bull. And
but it makes you believe, right?
No. He stepped up. Kevin Durant foot should have been one size smaller. He would have been in the finals the year that they played the Bucks. So that's part of the game. He was getting ran down by a damn D lineman.
I'm just telling you.
That's
what makes people believe. Right?
So you're gonna so first of all, no game comes down to 1 or 2 plays. It don't. You're highlighting those plays, but we could say, well, if Michael Gallup would have caught the ball on 4th down, the Eagles wouldn't have got the ball and they wouldn't have scored. So, or if the refs wouldn't have called that phantom pass interference, then that's no. The game was the game. They lost the game, and it is what it is. But to say, but Dak stepped out and he threw a pass that was short of the goal line. No, that would have been a touchdown had the dude not tackled him before. So we can say all of that stuff, and none of that stuff matters.
Look, if they get to the Super Bowl, the narrative changes.
It doesn't.
It does,
Scott.
change.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Listen. Maybe if we get to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row, no, it does not change. Listen, you can say that. You've been on this earth long enough to know that they'll find something. So if the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl and beat the Seahawks, right? Let me just use the Seahawks, right? They let's just say they play they don't win a division. I mean, let's just say they say they don't win the division. They're the 5 seed again, right? They got to play the NFC South, who Falcons, Bucks, Saints, whoever. They win that game, right? Then let's just say they play who would be the 2 seed. Let's say the Seahawks are the 2 seed, right? And the Seahawks win, and then the Lions beat the Eagles or y'all whoever, and we have to go through the NFC South, the Lions, and then and then some other team, or the Seahawks and some whatever, and we happen not to play the 49ers or the Eagles. You know what I was gonna say? They didn't beat the 49ers or the Eagles though, right? And you know what I'm gonna say? I don't give a shit.
If they beat who's ever in front of them, it's not their fault. Who they play. If they beat the team they're matched up against, there's nothing that nobody can say. I'm just saying, and I think we can end it there.
But you said until you beat the big boys, you consider yourself. I mean, the 49ers and the Eagles as the big boys. But what if we don't play them and get to the Super Bowl? That's what they're gonna say.
So if you get to the NFC Championship game, you don't think that changes the narrative a little bit?
Dog.
So this is where we disagree. All right, you don't feel like that's a big enough deal because it's not a Super Bowl.
I do think it's a big deal. I don't make a big deal of it, of not getting there. It is what it is.
I think if you're up there, you can't like you got to start at least watching out for that team, and that's all I'm saying.
I hear you, but I feel like that some of these teams, I mean, some of these analysts or whoever, talking heads, will move that goalpost and say, well, they didn't do this and they didn't do that. But we'll see. I mean, look, we got time. We still got, 8-9 weeks left in the season.
You know what it is because we're not sold.
That's fine. That's fine. But the thing is, they're never satisfied.
The goalpost, okay, so we'll meet you in the middle, right? The goalpost does change when you're not sold. And unfortunately, you just have to undeniably, and this goes for anything, right? You have to take your respect. And they've gotten to the point to where, honestly, the only way they're going to get their respect is if they take it. Nobody's going to give it to them.
And that's fine.
And the goalposts, it probably is going to move until they win, or until people in their mind have to start taking them seriously.
Mark my words.
Okay.
Right? Mark my words. I don't just be talking, because I don't never talk like that neither, but just I've seen enough. I've seen enough from is we midway through the season, and I mean, barring injury, of course. If we get injury, it is what it is. But I think that the Eagles have. I mean, we all have chinks in our armor, but we'll see.
Look, everybody I talked to in Cowboys Nation has been hopeful, right?
I'm not hopeful.
Everybody is happy where you guys are, and it is what it is. Hey, you still got the second half of the season.
Half of the season.
We'll see how it plays out, but shoot, man, let's get out of here.
All right, it's off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B.
All right, you should have ate before you got here.
I didn't have time.
Oh, first we didn't. You know what? We didn't start on time. You know. All right, we out.
We off the record. Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.